Welcome back to Freedom Algo, everybody. All right, sorry for being a couple minutes late here. I'm still getting set up. I haven't had a chance to plot out the rest of this price action. So just bear with me. I just got back to my desk and I'm just getting set up. So just give me 1 second here. How's everybody doing today? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. All right. Just making sure everything's loading up. All right, I think we're good. All right, let me let me plot out the rest of this price action real quick. Okay. Something like that. Hey, good to hear it, Shelly. Good to hear it. Good to see you and good to hear that. Glad you're having a good day. All right. Yeah, what I saw today is this is a wild day. There are probably some moves that I didn't plot that I can plot. So I'll show you those as we go. But let me zoom out real quick. This is what the day looks like. Kind of crazy. There's this big downtrend. Close outside. Basically makes two big legs to a new low. Then it reverses, and there's just these steep and sharp trend line reversals today. Pretty wild overall. Hold on, my dog wants to move. All right, there we go. Pretty wild overall. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry about that on the mic. All right, testing. Whoa, why is my mic so sensitive? Hang on a second. I got to fix something. All right, I think I fixed it. I'm sorry about that. Does the mic sound better now? Sorry about that. There was some weird setting that changed and it was going berserk. So let me know, does the mic sound okay? Test. I think it looks good on my levels, but I just want to make sure it sounds good. Sean, for sure. And I gotta fix those. There's a couple of problems with those still, but I'll get it resolved soon. All right. So my bad about that. Okay, so let me show you here. Zoom in. All right, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what the heck happened there. That was crazy. All right. Sweet. Thank you. Good to see you, John. Good to see you, Matt. And yeah, Sean is testing out the new... I had Sean was in school this morning, and I had him. He was the first person to reply, so I have him testing the new indicators that I built. But there's still a problem. There's still one problem with them that we're trying to resolve. So I'm waiting for my developer to go through it, and I'm working with the NinjaTrader scripting team to try to get it resolved. There's just one more thing that needs to be dealt with before I can actually properly give everyone access. So anyway, we just got to be patient on that. It should be, I hope it's ready by tomorrow, but if it's not, then I think it'll be ready next week. I can't see it taking longer than that. I mean, it would be crazy if it did. All right, so right here we had this down channel, close outside, first entry, second entry short. This is a 9-tick bar. This is like at 1:30 in the morning. This is one of those ones that, like, if you were here, that's probably a second entry you could take. It then runs down. We end up at going all the way down here in this channel, and then it comes out here. Now, when I got in this morning, it was in this little up move right here. So basically, we break out of this channel. We have this little up move. There's just a first entry short here. There's no second entry. There's no lower high, so you can't go short here, unfortunately. Because I really wanted to set up there, but there just wasn't one. It comes down to a new low from that channel. But there was a possible wider channel. Now, I did widen it to here because it fit. And then it came up, and you get a first entry, second entry short. I took this second entry short. It's not perfect, but I liked it because overall, it was really bearish structure. It's basically a perfect signal bar. Now, I wasn't like trying to catch a runner here. I just took a full scalp, and it was a nice little setup, so I took that one. And then it comes up. You get a close outside and new high. And then you actually get this equal high, which kind of is like a lower high. But really what you have here is a new low. First entry short. Inside bar, so this kind of creates a second entry short, but then you get a lower high still, and it hasn't moved that far. So I think it's reasonable. Because if you look from the low of this bar, I think it had moved enough that the scalp was made, but I think it's reasonable considering this trend line and the context. So I marked it yellow because I don't think it's perfect, but it is a decent one. It's also right at the open, so you know there's some volatility there. Both of those are really nice though. All right, so then we close outside. We get just this move down. This is just a new high and a first entry. There's no second entry here. There's no lower high. So unfortunately, there's no way to go short here. And it just, which is a shame because this thing just takes off. I didn't even draw this, but this is just a correction channel. But man, this thing just went so far down. Just boom, that thing went crazy. So there is a first entry, second entry long failure there, but that's just too sideways. You can't take that. So unfortunately, you just have to watch this move go. Now, you do get a close outside here, and it makes a new low, and then it makes one more leg down. So I didn't draw this, but this is risky. I'll say that straight up. This is risky. This is a risky trade. I didn't mark it originally, but you do have a close outside and a new low of this channel. You just made a new low here. You could argue that this is basically 2 legs to a new low. You could just draw it probably like this. Basically 2 legs to a new low. It doesn't really matter how you draw it. I mean, you could even draw it like that. Something like that. And it does make a 2 legs to a new low. And then this one also has a close outside new low. Close outside new low, one more leg, and then a higher low. This is an equal low, so you could treat this like a higher low. So if you longed here, there's some reasons to like that. Then you get a first entry, second entry short that fails. Now, I marked this as a yellow, but I mean, this one is close to being a green arrow trade. The reason I marked it yellow, though, is it didn't come off the actual key entry point or the EMA. It's just a little bit above. So if you go long there, you do have some risk involved because you don't have a lot of room to this high, so you're just having to bank on it going much higher, and you don't know that it will. So it's a little bit of a risk, especially with all that bearish momentum. You haven't really confirmed this trend too much yet until kind of like over here somewhere. Then it comes up, you get this sharp move down. Let me see. Oh, Daryl, good to see you. Sat Matt. Not sure what you mean, but let me know what you mean there, because I have no idea what you mean. All right, then this comes down. First entry, second entry long. You're not looking for one there. It's a bearish bar anyway, but it does make a new low. Now, I think I marked this one. You do have a first entry, second entry short. The reason I marked it was because at the time, I was thinking that we might have some sort of like a wider down channel. It's really hard to know for sure, but it's like possibly like some... I didn't connect that properly, but you see what I mean? Like some sort of possible flatter channel forming. You don't have any confirmation of it, and you already made a new low on this, so it is risky to go short. But like with how bearish it's been, you know, there's some reasons to like that. You're rejecting the EMA there. So I marked it. I don't think it's ideal, but it's there. It is a lower high second entry short. It's a pretty nice looking setup overall. In the larger context of things, like it looks like it's probably going to trap these longs who went long on the higher low. And that's another reason I like it, is that they made a new low, then they made a higher low, and then people went long and it went one tick and failed. So it's probably going to trap all the longs and at least come down to test this level. So that's kind of how I saw it. Oh, Sat Matt. No, it's only for my members. No, it's only for my members. I don't know if you're a member or not because I don't recognize your name, but it's only for the members of my paid school community. So it's part of the package. So I'll show you. So basically here, after you join, it's $99 a month to join, by the way, right now. And it says Freedom Algo, Ninja Trader Toolkit, and indicators coming soon. Well, I'm using this right now on my chart, and I don't have them all turned on, but I am using it. And basically, this is just going to be part of what you get. So it's going to be for anybody in here. But there's a problem with the toolbar on one of them. So you see this toolbar up here, how I have these custom drawing tools, these ATR values, take profit value, timestamp. This stuff is for some reason not displaying for some people. So I'm getting that resolved first before I release it to everyone. That's the only issue right now. Everything else is working properly. So it should be pretty soon that I get that completely figured out. I'm just waiting to hear back from my developer. That's all. So I should have some resolution there. I should have some resolution there pretty soon. Anyway, all right, let me go back to this. All right, so then we bounce off of the lows here. I drew this line across these lows. We don't get all the way to the low of the day, but I kind of drew this line. Oh, whoops. I drew this line here across these closes and this level. Bounced here. So it runs up. Now, I like this because you actually have a first entry, second entry short, third entry short, just keeps going. This is a failure. A first entry, second entry short failure right here. Again, it kind of is where you'd want a failure. You're still expecting a new high to be made. It's one of those ones where I'm like, do I mark it? Yeah, I can mark it. I can mark it. But it's not perfect. It is kind of where you expect a failure to happen. But it's just, you know, we can mark it. I didn't take that trade, but it's there. You know, it's basically a first entry, second entry short failure. The only reason it's a little risky is that you get the close outside new high here. So you don't know that you're not going to make a lower high in reverse. So it's a little bit dicey there. Not perfect, but if you took it, pretty decent. All right, then this thing runs up and you get a close outside somewhere in here. I think I originally had this more like that. You get a close outside, move to a new high, then you get a lower high, but it doesn't reverse. So in the lower, you wouldn't take the lower high anyway because you get an inside bar right here. And it does trap everybody. I was thinking the second entry long might be a nice little trap, but the way the candle closed, you couldn't take it. Because it was actually a new low on this channel, and you might be forming a wider channel up. But unfortunately, you don't get a good signal bar here. If you had a good signal bar here, this would have been a nice little second entry long trap. Trap in the shorts. So I would have liked that. But it didn't form the right way. I was ready for a trade there to go long, but it just didn't form. Just as like a trap. It still would have been a yellow arrow, but there you go. All right, so then you have this move here. First entry. There's kind of, this is an equal low. I wouldn't call it a second entry long, but it was tempting. You then get a first entry, second entry short from the highs with a lower high. So this one is one that maybe, the problem is you keep making higher lows as you're going up. Now it does look like a close outside and a couple legs to a new high. I just think it's a little dicey here to take a short. I'm going to have to mark this yellow, but you could call this a lower high after second entry short. Again, this is not one that I took in real time right here because I was a little bit concerned about the fact that we are still making higher lows and higher highs, and it just looked like it might be forming a spike in channel. But, you know, there's some reasons to like a short there. I think it's dicey, but it's there. Second entry long here, no setup, higher low, not really a good signal bar, but this is a trap. So I like this one because basically the way I saw this was kind of like, basically this looks like one move right here, right? So it kind of looks like a bigger first entry, second entry long, or like a first entry, second entry long, higher low that fails, right? So all the people going long here get trapped here. Their stop losses are all right here and right here. And so what happens is they try to go long on this higher low. But also there's a first entry, second entry short that forms. And a lot of people try to go short on this lower high. And both of them are wrong. So the people that were long were too early, and the people that were short were wrong. So they both get trapped. And then there's a nice bear or bullish candle here that forms a new low there, confirms that this up channel is still in play. So if you went long there, that's a really sweet little trap. I liked that one a lot. It's a nice one. Those are cool. A lot of times I mark traps yellow, but that's just such a good like setup that I think you just have to say that that's a nice way to go. And these are just, traps are good for a scalp. They are not like a big reversal type trade every time. They're green for a full scalp. You don't always try to get runners on traps. You're just trying to get a quick little scalp. Sometimes you can take a runner on them, but a lot of times on traps, the runner won't succeed because it's just meant to like snap out everybody's stop losses real fast. All right. From this low here, you actually get a first entry, second entry short that fails with a decent candlestick, decently bullish. So if you went long above that, I'm not mad at you. It's decent. It's a continuation pattern in this channel, but it's a pretty weak channel. So you do have to be aware of that. And we're not even making it back to the midline. So I don't love it, but it's there. Then you get a close outside. New high made to some extent, almost. This was, what is this? 72.50. So I think it missed it by, yeah, it missed it by 2 ticks. So it didn't quite make a new high. And then it comes down. So because it didn't make a new high yet, and now you're going kind of sideways, and then you get a perfect triple test here. It looks like it's forming sort of a range. I think you could take that, and that's a pretty nice little range trade, switching gears to range rules. It makes the new low on this down channel, so that's another reason to like it. And then it goes up. Now, you do get a triple test here to go short, but it's still in the up channel, so you can't take it. It ends up going lower, but I don't think you can take that. There is a first entry, second entry long here, but again, you can't take this because the signal bar is this red one because that's the swing low, and this is just an inside bar, so you can't take anything there, and then you don't get a higher low. The equal low is not good enough. So then it goes up. Now, it does run up here, and originally I thought there was a wider channel here, but after the fact, I realized, hey, no, there isn't, and so I corrected this and shared it with everybody. But basically, there was an up channel here, close outside, new high, and then a lower high. So you have from this low a first entry short, second entry short after the new high is made, and then a lower high after the second entry short and after the new high was made. So I like that. It's probably going to dump down. It's failing to get back inside this range, and it looks like it's going to dump. So that's a pretty decent one. I like that setup too. And then now you have this move here, and you get a first entry, second entry short that fails too high up. You can't take it. Keeps going. Breaks out the top. You get some lower highs here. Eventually it fails back in. Now, I don't think you want to take any of this triple test type stuff up here. I think you just need to be patient. And let me drag this. I just had this range here just because it seemed like it was still coming in play. But at this point, the bottom is not being respected of this. So it's not really that valid anymore. And then we have, let's see. So we have a first entry. There's a second entry short right here. But I don't think you want to take it because the new low is already made. It is falling back in, but I don't see anything in here that I'd want to really take. Maybe this one where you have now a first entry, second entry short again. You failed off the highs here a few times, but again, I don't really love any of this. Draw this channel. Something like this. Looks to be in play. Might be steeper, but we'll let it play out for a second and see. You know, it's one of those ones where it's like, there's a failure there, but I don't think you want to take that yet. So I think you just got to wait here. We got to consider if there's any sort of wider pattern with these lower highs. It just looks, this is going to probably be too shallow of a channel, but I'll draw it just in case, just to see. Maybe this is a two-tiered channel. It's pretty flat. I don't think so. We'll draw it back after we see what happens here. So not really anything that great there. We're just running down now. So no real setups in this zone right here. So after whatever time that was, 8:20, I don't see any good setups in the last hour or so. There's some stuff in here that's maybe like you could argue is reasonable, but it's yellow arrow stuff. Like it's not anything that's a sure thing. It's not anything that great. And it's not really anything I'd be taking. So I think you just got to be patient here. And that's how I see it so far. If you're here, smash up the likes. I appreciate you all. All right. So, give me 1 second. I got to close out of something real fast. All right, my bad. All right, let me zoom in a bit too, just so the price action is a little bit more clear on the screen. All right. Give me 1 second. I just got to check something real fast. If you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. All right, so it's a decent little first entry short. Bars are tough today with some of this. Yeah, for sure. Mr. P, good to see you. And yeah, this thing has been pretty funny today. If you zoom out, man, this thing just looks wild. All these pretty sharp moves. Pretty wild looking day overall. I didn't do this because it would look probably ridiculous, but it's kind of funny to think about the fact that if you draw a giant range, probably like this. Let's just do it real quick. If you draw a giant range, it's kind of funny because it like sort of fits, right? Like, here, let me do this. I'll draw the range on here. Here, let me delete this. And the blue line there is just the low of the day. But if you look, it's kind of funny because this is like a giant range where we're just, most of the price action is near the midline of the range. Do you see that? It's really all it is. We haven't made it back to the highs of the range, but this is kind of like a giant range day. And that's why we see all these pivot points right in the middle here. You see that on range days. It's kind of like a giant range day. I thought it was going to be a trend day, but it really looks like a big, big range overall. So we'll see how it ends out, but just a really interesting day so far. It could turn into a downtrend again and keep going lower. I mean, we could see that. We could also go to the highs. Like, this is one of those days where anything could happen. You got to just wait for reversals and then follow the trend lines that form. But pay attention to these short-term trend lines today, because that's what will keep you on the right side of the market. All right. I'll be back in 2 seconds, or really 2 minutes. Sorry about that, everybody. Had to take care of something real quick. We had a run-in with the black bear last night. I didn't see him, but he got into everybody's trash. Dude, this bear, I don't know how he did this. I have a brute can with a bear clasp lock system. He must have thrown my garbage can on the ground, laid on top of it to bend it, and somehow pulled the garbage bags out through the tiny little space between the like he wasn't able to remove the lock system. The lid was still on, but he bent my garbage can so much that he was able to get the garbage bags out and ran off with them. And so now there's a couple missing garbage bags. And I saw all of my neighbors' garbages were toppled over. So black bear got into everyone's trash last night and dragged it all out into the woods somewhere, and nobody knows. I don't have any trace of it. So anyway, my dog's been barking all morning because he probably smells everything. Classic mountain life stuff. Dude, they're just like, I'm like, what? The only neighbor who it didn't get into is this one that has this like super cool like garbage can type that has like a metal handle on it that twists and it like locks like a big, you know, almost like a giant jar. That's the only person his garbage can was knocked over, but it wasn't open. So, I mean, I might have to switch to either one of those or just go back to what I used to do, which is like I'd keep the garbage in my basement in the garbage can, and then I would just take it out on garbage day. And that's probably what I'm going to have to start doing again. Take it out in the morning on garbage day, because if you have it out the night before, even with that stuff, man, they still find a way. My garbage can is all mangled too, man. It's all busted up. It's like, dude, this thing's a brute can. I can't believe how strong these creatures can be. That bear must weigh like over 200 pounds. He might be like, he's probably one of those 300-pound fat garbage bears, you know? All right. Give me a second here. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's pretty wild around here. It is. It's pretty wild around here. Oh, he always comes back, Sean. This bear has been a neighborhood menace forever. He goes through everybody's stuff. He's been living in the neighborhood and doing this for years. I'm pretty sure it's a male that just lives alone, because I've never seen cubs around, and I've only seen him once, like actually seen him, and he's like Yogi Bear. I seen him one night running, holding the garbage, like he was holding the garbage in his front paws like this and running on his hind legs, running through the woods like Yogi Bear, holding the big bag garbage. I've seen him do it. It was like one night in the summertime, like 2 summers ago, I seen him, and it was like real hot out, and he was out at like dusk. It was like maybe like 9 p.m. or something, like 8:30, 9 p.m. It was like just getting dark. Seen him running across. I yelled out the window, and he tossed the bag and kept running. All right. All right, I got to close something real quick. Sorry, I had to pull up something on my main screen. All right. So, I mean, this range is not really, like this range right here is not really that relevant anymore. We could probably, it's like, this is just absurd. There's no real like consistency here. So I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do is actually just drag this over like this, back to like, maybe like right there, just leave it. Because I don't want it to be in the way. What we can also do is go like this. And just be aware of where the high previously was. So what you can do is just drag this blue line over. And that way, because that's the only level that seems to be somewhat getting respected. So we can just drag that over. I just don't want it to muddy up the chart. Did we ever come back to yesterday's close? No, it's way up here. So we have a huge gap down in the regular session. Yeah, it was funny too. My daughter was with me when it happened. Because we were upstairs and I looked out the window. I was like, hey, look, there's a black bear. And then we like ran over. Ran over to the window. It was super funny. All right. All right, so we actually have this move up here. This is all one low, so this is really forming a second entry short here. But you got to be careful taking a short here. Because no matter how you look at this, we don't have a new high made. So even if you see this as a lower high that's also a second entry short, it's risky to take it right here. You see, it's not even a good signal bar now. Didn't close bearish enough anyway. We are expecting a new low to be made down here probably. This is kind of a channel of its own. So not really much we can do with that one. Just gotta let it roll. All right, let's see here. Let's see if we get some more likes going. We only got 14 right now, so smash up that like button. I will not be able to stream too long today because I have some stuff going on. Tomorrow I'll have a longer stream planned. Today I've got to go because I've got a call in about 20 minutes. And hopefully soon I'll get these things resolved with the trading indicators and like the stuff that is for NinjaTrader, the whole toolkit and everything. Hopefully that will be resolved soon. Gonna be I was really wanting to roll it out by tomorrow, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. It's gonna depend on if the developer can figure out what the actual issue was, or if NinjaTrader can figure out, whichever's first. So anyway, hopefully that'll happen, but today I have to do something at in about 20 minutes. I have a call, and then tomorrow I don't have anything scheduled. So tomorrow the live stream will be at like basically the normal time. I'll get it scheduled shortly after. I have to do a few things because I got some other stuff going on, but I'll get it scheduled after the stream. But yeah, tomorrow's stream should be a little bit longer. And with a day like today, we'll probably have a pretty wild Friday ahead of us, I think. I'm just checking a couple of things on my other screen here. Bear with me. All right. So let me do this. Draw that level as a possible area of interest. We made the new low there. There is a second entry long here. You can see a new high, pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen when it happened. There is a second entry long there after a new low. It is a little dicey to just take a long here because it's just kind of no man's land. I mean, it did make a new low, so it does kind of qualify. I think you'd have to be aware. There's not really a good way to draw a trend line that even fits here. It might be from the lower high here. Yeah, it doesn't really fit. I think the only problem with this is, like, you can kind of see there's not really a way to draw a trend line that fits. This, you know, I don't think you can draw one. I mean, you could argue that this trend line is still in play. You could argue that this might be its own channel, like that. It's a little dicey. We got to wait for this to play out a little further for me to know for sure. Yeah, first entry, second entry long. We also have a first entry short here. So we'll let that roll for a second. All right, my bad. I had to close out. I wasn't checking the chat there. Now I'm back to the chat. I don't see. Okay, I didn't miss anything. All right, cool. So we'll let that play out a little bit, and we'll see if there's anything that sets up here. But I don't know that there will be. Also trying to get. There is a higher low. Is there a wider? See, this is always dicey when it's like this because it made a new low and it just made a higher low off of those levels. And this level is seeming to come into play. But it's not clear to me that this has played out and that we're not going to continue with a new trend of its own here. So it's a little bit of a spotty area. You have a first entry. Now you have a second entry short. Not a good signal bar, but it's there. And again, that's a higher low. It's not one that I'd take. It's already moved too far to take a higher low. So let's see if this stays in play. We'll find out in a minute here. Sorry about that. Why do I have a... Oh, I see what happened. Reminder that I have to go in a few minutes. All right, so we are breaking down here. So I don't think this level is going to come into play. You can see that this trend line is still holding. So that second entry did work, but it's just not a good signal bar, unfortunately. And you are just bouncing off this level, so it's a little dicey. But it does look like it's appearing to move like a trend of its own. You got a new low, one more leg to a new low. So now we got to see. Let's see if this thing keeps going. I would not be surprised if this is a trend of its own that ends up going down. I would not be surprised. We got plenty of room to the lows. You can see we rejected that midline pretty harshly overall. And that was one more attempt. And so now we're going down. I'd be aware of these levels down here. All right. You could argue that this is a short because it's a first entry, second entry long failure with the bearish bar right off the EMA. You could argue that, but I just don't think it's where you're looking for a failure after you just made the new low. So it's not one that I would take. I'm not going to mark stuff that I would definitely not take, but I'll tell you that that is there. But you don't want to be marking things as good setups and whatnot that are not ones that you'd actually be taking. I just don't think that that's wise to do. I was missing the chat, my bad. All right, let's see. DOS is back. I haven't seen DOS in a while. Good to see DOS. Where is it? We got a goat in the chat for DOS. Haven't seen DOS in a minute, so that's funny. Oh, classic. Goat in the chat for DOS. Always bringing the dad jokes. Haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you've been doing well. Hopefully you've been doing well. Gate Zach, good to see you. Oh, classic. Classic. Good to have everybody here as always. I'm actually going to have to jump here. I got to go and jump on a call. So unfortunately, I can't watch the market much more. I was hoping we would get a decent little setup, but there just isn't really much going on. Again, this failure is too risky, in my opinion. We are making lower lows and lower highs in this downtrend. So if a second entry sets up, it could be a good setup, but it's just tight. So it's sometimes hard to get setups when the channels are tight. So what we really want to see is something a little wider open up for us, and it might. So I'm going to end it here. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do a longer stream. We'll set stream goals. We'll do the normal stuff. Had a bunch of distractions and things today because I'm just working on so much code. It's hard to watch the market, trade, do all that stuff while also working on all this code. But I'm trying to get it out and shipped to everybody so they can start using it. And it'll be ready soon. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I will see you